The uniqueness of Jesus in a world full of religions. Okay, so here we have a provocative things with the Christian faith. Namely that historically, Christians have claimed that there is only one way to the one and only God. It cannot be more exclusive than that. There is only one way to the one and only God. And this does not sit very well with a pluralistic, postmodern, individualistic, subjective culture. People would like to think very different on the issues. How on earth can you say there is only one way to the one and only God who is there? You are just dismissing hundreds of millions of people and their beliefs. That is so arrogant and so intolerant. It's impossible. A lot of people, they like to think like the American humorist George Carlin. He says, religion is like a pair of shoes. Find one that fits for you, but don't make me wear your shoes. So if you think about what is the function of shoes, well, it has two functions. To protect your foot from cold and sharp stones and from water and snow, and then to beautify an ugly part of your body. So there's an aesthetic dimension. So we then choose our shoes dependent upon the context. If we're going to a party or a wedding, or we are going out skiing. If it's summer or winter, if we are male or female. If it's a sporting event or... Yeah, so it's just dependent upon the context. And you change shoes, and you can have different preferences in different ages of your life. Let's think about similar way about religion. Choose a religion that fits the situation you are in now, and it can change later on. More wise people than George Carlin have had a similar perspective. Mahatma Gandhi, he said, I believe in the fundamental truth of all great religions of the world. So he seemed to think that at the bottom, all religions are claiming the same truth, like all shoes protect your foot, but then shoes can look very different. A lot of different religious traditions. But at the basis, it's the same foundational truth. A Zen Buddhist poet, Ikku, he has said many paths lead from the foot of the mountain, but at the peak we all gaze at the single bright moon. So he says, let us imagine we are standing below a big mountain, and we want to go up on the top. And there's one path there, one path there, one path there, one path there. Which should I choose? And he says, it doesn't matter. All the different paths, trails, ends up at the same mountaintop. And when we come up there, regardless of which way we took, it is the same moon. It is the same divine reality we are gazing into. So it doesn't matter which road you take, which religion you choose. So you can hear this kind of voice from many different corners. A few years ago, I was in a radio debate with one of the leading voices within the Lutheran Church in Sweden, which unfortunately have become extremely liberal. And we were discussing these issues. And he had to acknowledge that, well, in the Gospel of John, it says, I'm the truth, the way, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So, okay, yeah, it's true. It says like that. But then he responded and said, but that should be interpreted as love language. So think of a man who tells his wife, you are so beautiful. You are the most beautiful woman in the world. How should we interpret that? Is the right interpretation to say this is an meant as an objective statement that this woman is the most beautiful woman in the whole world? So if she applies to Miss Universe, all the others will withdraw because everyone knows she is the most beautiful. No, that's not the right way. This is love language. He meant to say, for me, you are beautiful. For me, you are important. For me, you... And that is, for us, Jesus is the way to God. That is how we should interpret it. Not that he necessarily is the way for everyone. Okay, so we had this debate. And I hear this again and again and again from students in slightly different ways. So people can say, well, all religions have a common core, so at the center they all claim the same thing. Or they say, all religions lead to the same destiny, to God. Or they say, well, all religions are the same. They are just an expression of human subjectivity. It's a human experience clothed in religious language. The consequence of this is that it doesn't matter which religion you choose. It's meaningless to say, choose the right religion. That's not the way to go. That's the consequence. What should we say? What can we say about this? Well, you brought your reason tonight. You brought your brain. It's really every time you go to church, bring your brain. And if you brought it this night, let's press the on button. Let's do some thinking. Let's do some thinking. Is it possible to have this perspective that I've just tried to describe? I would say it is not working. Let us think about what religions say about ultimate reality. Hinduism and Buddhism claims ultimate reality is impersonal. It's not mind, it's not love, it's not a will. No, says Judaism. It's personal. Ultimate reality is a person, it's a mind. Yes, said Christianity. Ultimate reality is a personal God. And he's personal to that degree that he's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. He's unity and diversity at the same time within his own being. One God, three persons. No, says Islam. There is one God, and he is an absolute unity in his essence. He's not Trinity, he's Tawhid, oneness. There's no diversity within God. This cannot be true at the same time. It can all be false, absolutely, and truth is something I'm not listed here. A fifth alternative, absolutely. But this cannot be true at the same time, if you want to use reason. Ultimate reality cannot be impersonal and personal at the same time. If it is personal, it cannot be an absolute unity and a trinity at the same time. Or think about Jesus, the identity of Jesus. 3 of the world's religions claims things about Jesus of Nazareth. Judaism says, well, he was one of us. Really good rabbi in some of his ethical teaching. But ultimately, he went totally wrong in his self-understanding. He's a false Messiah. You need to reject him. No, says Islam. He was a prophet sent by Allah. In some respects, higher than Muhammad. He did miracles. Muhammad didn't. He was born of a virgin. Muhammad wasn't. Muhammad is a more important, the last of the prophets. But Jesus is an important prophet, a messenger from God. Only human, of course, but still a messenger from God, and we should respect him. Yes, say Christianity, we should respect Jesus, but much, much more. He is the incarnation of the second person of the Trinity. He's the incarnate God, and we should worship him as we worship God. He's the creator coming into the creation. He's truly God and truly human. I can accept the idea that all this is false, and the truth about Jesus is a fourth alternative. That's a theoretical possibility. But I will never, ever accept that this can be true at the same time, that we should reject Jesus and we should respect him and we should worship him as God at the same time. That's nonsense. You have to take a stand. Or think about his resurrection. Islam says he did not die. Allah cannot allow his prophet to be humiliated in that way. So Allah caused confusion at the place of execution. And Jesus could run away, and they crucified the wrong person. And then Allah took him up in heaven. So he never died, and he was never resurrected. No, 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 says Judaism. He died. And God did not intervene. So he's still dead. He did not raise from the dead. No, says Christianity. He died, and there is a secret with his death. He died for us. It's an atoning death. And God confirmed that by raising him from the dead. I might be open that there is a fourth possibility, if you can suggest one. These can all be false, and the truth is a fourth thing, maybe. But I will never accept that all this can be true at the same time. Cannot be true that he did not die and was not resurrected. At the same time he died, but did not rise from the dead at the same time as he died and was resurrected. You have to take a stand. Well, let's take a more personal thing. What will happen when we die? Secularism says, well, an individual human being is like a light. We live for a few seconds and then we're just gone. There will be some smoke in the air for a few seconds, and then it's just melting into the air in the room, and we're just gone. There is no continuation for the individual. Eastern religions say, well, hold on. There is a continuation. You will be reborn and reborn and reborn and reborn in thousands of reincarnations until you finally are released from samsara. And then are united with Brahman. And that is like a drop of water falling into the ocean and then just melting into the ocean. No one can ever pick up that drop of water. It has no individuality any longer. It's just merged with the divine. So long term, you have no future as a you. Christianity has a very different perspective. I like very much the expression from Francis Schaeffer. He describes the human being as a glorious ruin. Glorious ruin. We are created by God in his image, but we have fallen away and are destroyed, distorted and destroyed by sin. So we are a ruin. If I think about a ruin, there's a beautiful ruin in Sweden. And if I stand before it, it's out on an island, it's a majestic place. And I can imagine when this castle, huge castle, when it was in its heyday, wow, what a place. The feasts, the music, the food, the people, the joy in this castle. And now it's a ruin. It's just empty. That's a picture of the human being. But God has not abandoned us. The offer of the gospel is that we can be restored, rebuilt, so that everyone who accepts the gospel is given eternal life, a real continuation of the real self, and ultimately in bodily, physical form, glorified. There are different there are more options when you think about, do we have a continuation? I mentioned 3 of them: the secular perspective, the Eastern mysticism, and the Christian faith. They cannot be true, all of them. Maybe there is a 4th, a 5th. Sure, we can discuss that. But they cannot be true, all of them. You have to take a stand. So we need to bring the question back to this, about true and false. So why on earth do we then say yes to Jesus and no to the other alternatives? Why don't follow Moses or Confucius or Buddha or Lao Tse or Muhammad? Why Jesus? If you're a Christian, you need to have a good answer to this. Why do we follow Jesus and not any of the other alternatives? I will just shortly give one way of thinking about that. I'm not giving this as this is the way to do it, but as a way of stimulating your thinking. How would you motivate that you say yes to Jesus and no to so much other alternatives? If you think about the other names here, all of them, there are things you can admire with them. They are like us, but in many instances they are stronger, wiser, better leaders, more passionate than we are. They have also a number of flaws and problems. But they are basically like us. And that is the problem with them. They are basically like us, all of them except Jesus. And therefore the question arises, how on earth can they help us if they are basically like us? When I look at Jesus, I think he is placed in a separate category. And here is what I mean. Jesus is unique in whatever aspect you look at him. If you look at his life, it is the most beautiful life ever lived. It is a combination of truth and of love that I have not seen anywhere else. He's so sharp in his mind. He's so clear in his discussions. And he's so filled with compassion and empathy and grace when he is dealing with broken, small, vulnerable people. I have not seen that kind of life anywhere. Compare that to Buddha, who abandoned his family, just left them for decades, his wife and his young child. Compare it to Muhammad and his life and his warfare and the violence and the horror and the sexual life he lived. Jesus' life is so special. His teaching is unique. I find it extraordinary. He seemed to have a very deep understanding of the human heart. To start to read the Gospels is like, I think, to stand before an X-ray machine. He seems to see through the heart and all the complexities and all the weird things going on. I feel exposed. And yet he's not rejecting me. There's still love and hope for me. His definition of what is the point of love is without the point of life is without comparison. He summarizes what we are here to do, to love God and to love our neighbor. And we all know that love is the most important thing in life. To live in right relationship with other people and ultimately with God. Fame and money and all other things, it cannot compete with love. And Jesus is just formulating it. Love is the most important thing. And we can go through his teaching on God or on prayer or on his teaching in the Sermon on the Mount and compare that to the teaching of Buddha or Confucius or Muhammad. His claims is, of course, totally unique. His claim to be representing the Creator in a unique way of sharing the Creator's identity. The others are prophets and wisdom teachers, but just human beings. Now, it's easy to say, I represent God, or I am God. You can say it, I just said it. But he could confirm that claim with a unique power. He could do what only God can do, to heal the sick, to raise the dead, to speak to nature. Buddha and Muhammad, they didn't do miracles to confirm their teaching. This is totally unique with Jesus, his power. And notice he's using his power always to do good, to restore human life. He's not a magician who put on a show, look what I can do. He's using his power in such a beautiful way to make life whole again. His death is unique. Well, everyone dies. So in that sense, it's not unique. But when a person dies, there is sorrow and tragic because of the death. Jesus' death is the symbol of Christianity, and it's part of our joy because there was meaning in his death. His death accomplished something for us. When Muhammad died, nothing happened. When Buddha died, nothing happened. When Confucius died, nothing happened. Something happened when Jesus died for us. Of course, if I should choose one point to say, why am I Christian? Why is Jesus unique? I would say, of course, his resurrection. That is the ultimate thing. Muslims go to the tomb of Muhammad because he's there. Buddhists go to the tomb. Actually, they go to two different tombs because they do not agree which one it was. But they go to a tomb where they think Buddha is. We don't go to a tomb, to a grave. Yeah, you can go to Jerusalem and to the tomb there, but we don't go there to see a tomb or a corpse, but to see the place where God made Jesus alive. And all this is within the context of a prophetic pattern. During 1,500 years, there are prophecies, voices saying one day a woman will become pregnant. One day a son will be born. One day someone will ride on a donkey in Jerusalem. One day. And all those prophecies comes together in Jesus. They are formulated in different centuries, different persons, different places. It's impossible for human minds to correlate that so it all fits together with Jesus. There is a divine mind behind that prophecies. So there is a uniqueness with Jesus. Now you can say, well, that something is unique does not prove it's true. And yeah, sure, the uniqueness in itself does not prove that it is true. You can say the uniqueness of being resurrected from the dead proves some truth. But you can also say, if God would enter this world, what kind of unique qualities would you associate with that entering? Well, I would assume if God entered this world, there would be wisdom and love in a unique way. There would be power in a unique way. There would be exactly those things that I see around Jesus. So I think this really points towards truth. Jesus himself in Matthew 12, 3 times use the phrase greater than. This is really fascinating. He says that he is greater than the temple. Think about the temple. That's a place of God's presence. That's a place of the atonement for sin. Now Jesus says something is greater than the temple of Jerusalem, pointing to himself. And then he says, I'm greater than Jonah as a representative of the prophets. Now he has come that is greater than all the prophets, because he's not a new prophet. He's the one who all the prophets pointed towards. And he says, I'm greater than Solomon, all the wisdom teachers of the world. He is the greater one. And that's why we are following him. And this you will have all through the New Testament. The uniqueness of Jesus. He's the only way. He's the only name. He's the only foundation. He's the only mediator. The uniqueness is underlined everywhere. So we cannot go with this postmodern attitude of all religions are the same, or it doesn't matter. It's impossible. It's impossible if you use your mind. It's impossible if you studied the New Testament documents. C.S. Lewis said, one road leads home and 1,000 roads lead into the wilderness. That is how we look at the world's religions. One road leads home, and that is Jesus. And 1,000 roads lead into the wilderness, because they are false. Let me end by quoting Timothy Keller. He often said that the huge difference between Christianity and world religions is the difference between good advice and good news. World religions give you good advice. So you go to Buddha or Muhammad or Confucius, and they give you a list of good advice. This is how you should live your life. This is how you can approach the divine. This is how you do to please Allah. So you have the eightfold path from Buddha, or you have the 5 pillars from Muhammad, or you have the three ethical principles from Confucius. So they differ a little, but it's a list. They have not done anything for you. But the gospel is good advice, what someone else has done for you. So now I'm preaching for you. So I often thought for myself, what have Buddha done for me? Nothing. What have Muhammad done for me? Well, nothing. What have Confucius done for me? And I have to say, nothing. What happened if I ask the question, what have Jesus ever done for me? And the answer is totally different. He took my place. He stood in my place. He carried away my sin. He opened the way to the Father. The gospel is good news. Other religions are good advice, what you should do. The gospel is good news about what someone else has done for you. That is such a difference. Okay. I don't know where we are in terms of timing. Oh, we have some time left. So this was a kind of overview how you can think about the issue of the uniqueness of Christ and all the religious alternatives of the world. There is, of course, much more to say, as there is with all the other subjects, but it's a way of trying to give you an overview how you can think about these issues.